Hello, distance learning friends. Let's take a look at what we're going to be doing in math today. There will only be one lesson or one video today because, as you know, yesterday when we did lesson 9, that was the last of the pages that you actually had in your distance learning binder for this first quarter. So the pages that we are going to be doing today, you do not have a copy of. You will need to get blank paper, read the problems, and then work each of the problems on blank paper. All right, so that's going to be your job with your first name and your last initial and the date that you do this, which will be whatever day you get it done, which should actually be tomorrow. So I have given you some numbers that you need to do, and the instructions are telling you that you need to in a whisper voice say each number in word form, and then you need to use number bonds to show how many tens, ones, and hundreds are in each number. So you're going to use number bonds and show your understanding of how to do this page. Then as we go on to the second page, this is something that we did yesterday with the empty number lines. You're going to first model the count using the ones, tens, and hundreds in your place value chart. If you've got the place value chart, you should do that with your paper money. Then you need to record your count on the empty number line. So this is similar to what we did yesterday in class, and you're going to need to do that as well on a blank piece of paper because you don't have a copy of this. If you do, you have it already taken care of, and I need you to do it now, paper and pencil. And then we move over to the next page. Oh, you know what? I should have said that your parents will need to pause this video so that you have enough time to actually copy down the problems that you're supposed to be doing. So as I go from page to page, you need to pause, make a worksheet for your student, and then have them do those problems. So now we're going on to the next page. Again, you'll need to pause the video so that you can make a copy of what your student is supposed to be doing on a blank piece of paper and have them work those at home. Then we are moving on to the next page, and I am going to remind you that I don't want you to draw a line, but rather you're going to match with the words. So you are going to write, not the words, but write the numbers next to each correct answer. So here is the unit value, and your job will be to write these numbers next to the unit values. So you're going to need to pause this video so that you can write it down on a blank piece of paper and then complete that assignment. And then you have this one. I don't want you to write down all the problems, but what you could do is have your student number 1 to 44, pause the video, and then have them write their answers on a piece of paper, like number 1, number 2, number 3. Don't have them write down all the problems unless you want to have them do that. That would be fine, but you really just need to have 1 and the answer, 2 and the answer, 3 and the answer. So you'll pause the video so that your student has time to be able to work them, and I would like you to work all of them on the first page. And I would like you to also work all of them on the second page the same way, where you're going to number a piece of paper 1 through 44, pause the video, and then have your student work the problems. And you can just have them write 1 and the correct answer, 2 and the correct answer, as you did on the first one. So you'll need to pause that video long enough for your student to be able to take that do this practice. It is not going to be timed for 1 minute. I want them to complete all 44 problems on both sides. And if they have been practicing the things that we've been doing over the first quarter, this should not be a difficult task. And then you have 36's page of subtraction. The same thing, my friends. I think it would probably be well on this page for your student to copy down each one of those problems and then write the answers in accordingly. This is a Form B of this particular test, so you will need to pause the video, have your student write down all 36 subtract problems and solve them. And the same thing is true for the addition side of Form B, where your students are going to copy down each one of those facts and solve them. These facts are very important to your students' math future, and I'm hoping that you are practicing them at home so that your students can be fairly rapid at being able to respond with the correct sums and differences. We practice this a lot at school in our face-to-face class, and sometimes I feel like I don't put enough emphasis on this for you as distance learners, but this is also a very important task for you to do. And if at any time you feel like you'd like to have more of these addition and subtraction fact practice papers, I have tons of them here in the classroom, and any of your classroom teachers would be happy to give you some to be able to practice at home. So after your students have completed the work in this packet, which by the way you're going to have to do on pencil and paper, then you are going to, as a parent, remember this is for parents. Parents need to be the one who is checking your students' work. So you're going to pause the video and check your students' work on the first page. So pause the video so you can check it. And then you are going to come to the second page and the same thing. You'll need to pause the video. Whoops, I need to move this up just a little bit so you can see it better. You'll need to pause the video and check your students' work. This was a fairly difficult concept for our face-to-face students. I hope your students at home are having better luck and if they're not seeming to understand it, I would go back and review the lesson 9 that was on yesterday's math assignment if they're having trouble with this particular concept of how to count as quickly with as few steps as possible up to like for example from 70 up to 300. This one only has 2 hops. They need to do that with as few hops as possible. So pause that video, check and see how your student did on this one. And then we're coming over to the next page. Again, the same thing. You'll need to pause the video and check your students' work and see how they did on these problems. And then you will also need to pause the video and see how your student did on these problems, which hopefully they got copied down so that they could work those problems. And then, of course, your student will need to, or you as a parent will need to check to see how your student did on this practice page with adding expanded form numbers. And I did want them to do all of them. These are very important way. This is a very important way for your student to practice basic facts and practicing adding with hundreds, tens, and ones. So, and then the last second page of that, same thing. There were 44 problems. You'll need to pause the video so that you can check your students' work. If they're struggling with this, you might want to have them do some extra practicing at home. And then, of course, there is the subtraction, the answers for the subtraction problems. You're going to have to pause the video and see how they're doing there. They're still counting on their fingers. That really is a problem. By this point in the year, second graders should not be counting on their fingers anymore. There's the subtraction page, and here is the addition page. I have had, in my face-to-face class, I have now had 7 students who have been able to pass off their basic facts, being able to do this page and the back of this page in 5 minutes or less with no boo-boos 3 times in a row. And you can also test your student at home with that same strategy. If you need to have more of these, please feel free to stop by and I'd be happy to get you some more. All right, so there's what you're doing for your math for today. There's just this one video, so after you and your student have completed that work, then you are finished. And as far as sending your teacher, we would like you to send us this last page this last page, which is the 36's sheet, you need to have the front and the back. You need to send this to your teacher. Send this to your teacher. It is like their exit ticket, and we would like both sides. This is very critical to your students' math success. So you are going to send the 36's sheet to your teacher in a picture, and we will need to have both sides. So we're going to see a picture of the addition side, and we're also going to see a picture of the subtraction side. This will be your exit ticket for tomorrow. Okay, have a great day of learning, and we will see some of you back face-to-face starting on Monday the 26th. And for the rest of you, we'll continue seeing you online. Have a great day of learning.